Good morning, everybody. Hope you are doing well. One thing I want to guarantee is that this live stream is not going to be perfect because I've got things crashing, I've got things going on that I didn't anticipate, but that's life, like we're life in every single day. So just want to invite you to the PodGlue live launch. So what's going to look like, who knows? But what I do know for sure is that I'm going to be showcasing PodGlue to the world or on this live stream. And you've probably seen it on my previous live streams, what PodGlue does. But before I get into all things PodGlue, what I wanted to do is I wanted to start playing some music that's related to PodGlue. Because again, what's a live stream without music? So if you want to listen along or if you want to take a listen to the album yourself, head on over to podglue.com/album, and I'm going to play some of that music right now for you. And this is going to be funny because here's the thing, right? Why and how did this even came to happen? And the reason I'm looking at all the different screens, because again, this is not going to be perfect. This is going to be a live stream. It's going to be completely human. It's going to be completely everything that you would not expect from a perfect live stream. But we do know that it's important to bring in our human self into this world. And what's funny is that my teleprompter that I talk about all the time is not working. So I'm going to try to turn it off and maybe turn it back on, and I'm able to look at myself and the screens that I'm looking at. So let's see, pull this, turn it back on. Hopefully it pulls back in. Phil Hill, No Security, says, congratulations on the PodGlue launch. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. You're amazing. You've been following my journey this whole time, and I'm so excited that I get to call you my friend. And yes, look at that. We got this. We're using Ecamm Live to promote and to do this live stream. Holla at me if you are an Ecamm fam as well. Let's fix that there. All right, so we are live streaming on multiple platforms, but I wanted to bring this music in, right? So I'm setting all of these things up behind the scenes. Of course, I don't know why I picked 10 a.m. I could have picked like 11 a.m. So I has a little bit of buffer time to get ready to this live stream, because I literally just came back home from dropping off my son to school. And not only that, bro. What's funny is that my daughter, she had a show and tell snow leopard that she was supposed to bring, and she forgot. So I had to drop off that thing as well. So I was like, you know what? Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So here I am, the room, and I forgot to turn the AC on too. So I'm gonna play this music. Let's add Chrome to my audio stream over here, and just give me a holla if you can hear me. This is going to be audio oops. The back audio is unmuted. I don't know what the playthrough means, but let me play this first song. I'm going to call it 700 Conversations because, again, the entire premise to PodGlue was I was going through so many different tools, right? So many different tools we go through to publish one episode. And then guess what happens? We start all over again. So about 400 episodes, I was like, there has to be a better way. So here's the origin story of PodGlue through this 700 Conversations song. Let me know if you can hear it.
They asked me where I got the idea. I said it took about 700 conversations. Yeah, yeah. Da, 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 da. Yeah, yeah. started in a car with a headset and an iPad, talking to myself like a man who lost the thread. Anchor FM, no guest, no plan, no studio. Just pressure in my chest, I had nowhere else to go. First year I was just documenting, didn't know what the questions were, I was just asking everything. Season 2 I got a microphone that didn't sound like 10. Season 3 I realized I was doing more than listening. Every guest who sat across from me had a version of the same confession. I love making the show, it's everything after that I haven't figured out the direction. 700 conversations, 700 people sitting in the chair. 700 times I heard the same frustration, and nobody was building what should have been there. 700 data points disguised as episodes, 700 threads I followed to the end. I kept waiting for somebody else to solve it, then I realized I already had the blueprint in my hands. I interviewed 15 agency owners just to make sure this wasn't my problem, but the industry's fractured. Turns out every host was duct taping the same wound, publishing and ghosting by the afternoon. The guest got it, thanks for coming on, and then silence. The clip got posted once and died in the timeline. I sat with that for years, I'm not exaggerating. 8 years of field research before I started building. Every host who trusted me enough to show me how their back end really ran was handing me the spec sheet for a product that nobody else was brave enough to plan. 700 conversations, 700 people sitting in the chair. 700 times I heard the same frustration, and nobody was building what should have been there. 700 data points disguised as episodes, 700 threads I followed to the end. I kept waiting for somebody else to solve it, then I realized I already had the blueprint in my hands. My mom fixed doors with the jigsaw and rehab. My dad typed code without looking at his hands. I sold books from a car trunk at the mosque on Fridays and registered a domain before I had a plan. Every single thing I ever did was building toward this moment I couldn't see. 700 conversations later, the product isn't software, it's the pattern underneath. They asked me where the idea came from. I said it didn't come from an idea. It came from paying attention for a very long time.
PodGlue Sessions album. Again, it took me 700 conversations to come up with a solution because I kept thinking, hey, there has to be a better way, because let's walk through the lane of what it actually takes to do one podcast episode. You invite the guest. You send them a form or a calendar. They fill out the form. You get an email. They get a confirmation. Then you got to do the recording. After the recording, you got to distribute it. Or wait, you got to edit it. You got to then publish it. Then you got to distribute it and promote it. Then you got to tell the guest. Oh yeah, my volume is too low. And you got to tell the guest. So there's 10 different things that you're going through when you're producing your episode. And guess what? You got to redo it all over again for guest number 2. Now, if you have a system in place where you have these tools lined up one after the other, it becomes easier because guess what? I've done 800 of these episodes. I have a system in place, but I'm still forgetting part of the things. Hey, wait, did I forget this part? Did I forget that part? Like, there's always things that escape our mind because we have such busy lives. We have such busy things that we have to go through because we're not just a podcaster. We're a human being. We're a father. We're a parent. We're a brother. We're a friend. We're a community leader. We're a CEO. We're so many different things. We're not just a podcaster. So why and how can we remember all of that and still expect for things to go is beyond me, right? So the reason why literally anybody, here's an example, okay? Anybody who's learned how to ride a bike can now sit on literally any bicycle and ride it. Anybody who has a driver's license can literally sit in any car and drive that car. Now, if you're driving a truck or a bus or a semi, you might need a different level of license, but you know the systems, how the systems work. You know how these things work. So that's so important. What started happening is I had this too many tabs reality. I've got the scheduling. I'm gonna go over getting right scheduling. You got the transcripts. Then you got to create the assets. You got to do the guest follow up, the social media post, the publishing, and there's just too many tabs to keep track of. Who here, push a one in put 1, 2, 3 in your in my in the chat. If you have multiple windows with multiple tabs open, hey me, I've got 4 windows open with 10 tabs each. Who has this problem? All of us do, right? It's not easy to keep track. Oh, what was I doing on that tab? And then guess what? Life happens. You got to run off and you got to do these things. So I was like, how can we bring all of this together? Because outside of producing the content, we're in this hamster wheel of producing constant content. What we forget to focus on is the person on the other side, right? The person in the other chair across from you. How are you building that relationship? Now, if you've been podcasting for a long time, you probably figured out that content is just a byproduct of the actual conversation you're having. And after interviewing over 100 podcast hosts, 15 agency owners, to understand, hey, how do you actually produce your podcast? How do you actually go through these things? It started to make sense that everybody's going through the exact same process. Everybody. It's kind of crazy, right? And I was like, how come nobody's figured out the solution? Or maybe, just a good workflow is kind of the things. And what's cool is just earlier today, first of all, happy birthday to me. I'm turning 50 today. And just today on the Podcasting Morning Show, my good friend Mark Ronick and Ralph and Sid, they brought on a new guest on the show. Now, I've known this gentleman for a long time, Jeff C. He's got his own amazing shows. And what's amazing is that he broke down how he's using content creation, how's using AI in content creation in his system. And everything that he's talking about, I was like, oh my God, that's so true. PodGlue does that. I kept saying as he's dropping this knowledge, I'm like, wait, PodGlue does that. Oh, PodGlue does that too. Oh, yeah, PodGlue does that. Because some of the things that are foundational. Thank you, Danny Marie. Appreciate it. And yes, the song was from Suno. What's funny is that every single thing that we're doing, every single thing that's coming out in this world, like every tool that's coming out with AI, we're all trying to figure out, hey, how to use this tool, how to maximize your system, maximize your workflow. And I was like, this is really cool. And every 3 months on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, best model ever. Oh my God, Opus 4.7 is so much better than ChatGPT 5.3. Oh my God, ChatGPT 5.5 is so much better than Opus 4.8. Like all of these releases are going to happen and it's not going to stop. These advancements are going to continue to happen. It's almost like, oh my God, you're 1 year older today. Yes. And the easiest way to look at it is if you have kids and if you see your kids grow from 1 week to the next week, oh my God, they're growing exponentially. And that's what's happening with the AI software, with AI language models. They're going to continue to grow and get stronger every single day, every single week. And what does that mean? Does that mean is your system locked in? Are you having to learn something new every single time a new model is out? I know I was doing that for the past few days. So how do I make it easier? How do I make it so that no matter the model, my system, my workflow remains the same? My system, my workflow continues to work without a hitch. I was like, I got to build that into the system. I got to build it into PodGlue so that no matter what model is running underneath, my output is voiced, is personalized to me. My output is designed so it talks in the way that I speak. Short sentences, long pauses. Because you have to believe, if you don't know me, I'm Junaid, like lemonade. I'm a father of 4 kids. And what does that mean? Father of 4 kids. You got to have so much patience. Oh my God. It's kind of blowing my mind. I've been a parent for 16 years. And I remember when I was a parent in the beginning years, I had no tolerance for literally anything. My son, and my wife still laughs at this, my son threw up on me. And I just freaked out. He was like 18 months old. And I kind of freaked out. And she was like, "What? It's just throw up." I'm like, "Yes, but I've never experienced somebody else to throw up on me, right?" But now that I'm a parent for 16 years, just 4 years ago, we were traveling across country to visit my family, and we had a layover, which was like really short. But during that first flight, my youngest son had a blowout. He had a blowout, and he leaked. That poop leaked out of his clothes onto my clothes, and I only had one T-shirt. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I was able to wash it up, but still, I had the stain on my shirt for the next leg of the flight. And it didn't faze me. Because as podcasters, as parents, as somebody who's grown up, we're going to continue to experience these things with our lives. And we have to see how we're going to keep going. So I'll play the next song. This is called Nobody Did. It's in the 90s vibe style. But let me check I have so many windows open, y'all. Let me check my run of the show to see if I'm missing any points. And guys, if you have any questions, and thank you so much for the happy birthdays. I see Jenny Gold here. I see Danny Marie. I see RJ Ahmed, who's like, "Hey, your sound is low. Now it's better." Phil says he loves the song that I played earlier, 700 Conversation. By the way, if you want to check out the song, go on over to, or if you want to check out the album, head on over to podglue.com/album. All right, so it's posted there. I should probably add a text here. So again, in full transparency, this is not going to be a perfect live stream, but I'm gonna do what I'm gonna keep doing. Right, this is how we get better. This is how we keep going. And cool, look, I can put 2 comments at the same time. Let's pop in the link to the album if you want to go check it out on your own later on. Again, this album is for those podcast hosts that have been at it, that have been going and moving forward. Thank you so much, Phil Hill. You're on both platforms. Thank you so much. Here's the link to the album. Let me put it on both windows. Maybe I should add I should have added a QR code. I know that would have been so much cooler to put a QR code. Let me add a little background color to it. Again, I'm doing all of this thanks to Ecamm Live, the most amazing software ever. And where's my border color? Where's my background color? There we go. Boom. So that's podglue.com/album if you want to listen to the songs on your own. And then, yes, I am going to show you the app as well as we continue to keep having this conversation. Again, I want to hear your story. How did you start your podcast? Please drop it in the comment below. How you started your podcast? What troubles you? What are the things that you wish were easier? Because believe it or not, PodGlue does that. All right, it's the next song. The next song I'm play is called "Nobody Did." It's got a nice, cool little story behind the story in it as well. So let me hit play.
Two, three. Yeah. I watched every podcaster I know hit publish and then let the whole thing go. The guests got a thank you, maybe a text, and everything useful just drifted to the left. I asked the agencies, I asked the hosts, I asked the ones who had the most to lose, who's building the layer between the mic and the trust. They all said the same thing, nobody does. I kept waiting for somebody else to see what I could see. I kept waiting for somebody smarter, somebody with more time than me. I waited through 100 episodes, then 200, then I lost the count. I kept waiting for somebody else to build it, nobody did. So I figured it out. Transcript lands in one app, notes live in another. Guest proclamation lost in a thread with my mother. Promo goes out, but I can find the artwork. The episode's live, but the follow-up won't work. Clip it, ship it, schedule it, share it. I swear I had a system about my problems, and I watched every podcaster I know hit publish and then let the whole thing go. The guest got a thank you, maybe a text, and everything useful just drifted to the left. I asked the agencies, I asked the hosts, I asked the ones who had the most to lose, who's building the layer between the mic and the trust. They all said the same thing, nobody does. I kept waiting for somebody else to see what I could see. I kept waiting for somebody funded, somebody with a bigger team. I waited through the tools that came and went, the ones that promised everything and missed the point. I kept waiting for somebody else to build it, nobody did. So I figured it out. My father came to Saudi Arabia for a job. My mother trimmed a door with a jigsaw because nobody else would. I sold books from a car trunk in 19 and registered a domain before I had a product. Some people wait for permission, some people wait for funding, some people wait for the market to be ready. I just ran out of patience. I stopped waiting for somebody else. I stopped looking for the sign. I stopped hoping that the industry would fix itself in some convenient design. 8 years of asking the same question, 8 years of hearing the same pain. Nobody built the system podcasters needed, so I built it, and I'd do it all again. They asked me why I didn't wait for investors, or a co-founder, or a market signal or validation. I say, I had 700 data points. What more validation do you need?
That was Nobody Did, So I Did. And here's the thing, right? We all look for permission. We all look for people to tell us, hey, you should go do that. You should go do that, right? But what if nobody's telling you to do that? Or maybe you're waiting for somebody to solve your problem. Guess what? Nobody knows what your problem is. So you got to go and solve it yourself. And that's what I did. And now I am sharing this with everybody else because, again, when you've lived into a problem for so long and that you know that the industry also has the same problem, why can't we all work together and solve it? So I'm inviting you to come in and tell me, what can we do better with podcasting? What can we do better with building these solutions for the world, for our industry, and how can we make life easy for us podcasters. So, number one, if you're here, thank you so much. If you have questions, send it on over. I see a comment from Danny Marie saying that she heard from a little bird that I will be at Empowered Podcasting this year. And that is absolutely correct. I am a partner with Empowered Podcasting. I'll be producing and capturing all of the speaker talks, just like I did last year. And then you have access to all of the recordings from last year and this year. So if you haven't booked yet, head on over to Empowered Podcasting Conference, empoweredpodcasting.com. Tripping over my words over here. Let me type it in here. HTTPS empoweredpodcasting.com. So head on over to empoweredpodcasting.com, register to come see other podcasters, see what they're doing, and build that community. Because again, what helped me to become a better podcaster and continue to grow was the people in the community, was the people encouraging me, were the people supporting me. These are the people that enabled me to be here right now, right? Because I kept showing up as myself, and I kept getting encouragement from the people, and I was like, oh my God, this is what's so important. It's because we have people around us. And again, I wrote this book, The Power of Community, 2 years ago, and basically brings in stories from 10 different podcasters who built communities that helped them build their businesses. So I was like, oh my God, this is so powerful. I'm so excited that this happened. And again, it's absolutely amazing to have community around you so that you can continue to grow. You can continue to find people who are on your level, who are on probably one stoplight in front of you, or maybe one stoplight behind you, right? Because on this freeway of podcasting and journey, it's so important to keep on supporting each other and have somebody to follow. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been so much powerful. Now I see a question from Philip Hill. Is PodGlue easy for new podcaster use? And thank you so much for that question, Philip. Yes, I've designed the application to work with new podcasters, with previous podcasters, with even podcasters that do not podcast anymore. Because guess what? You have a ton of content sitting around, people are listening to it, but you can use so much of it and continue to build on that because you've done the work, you have a library of data, and how can you reuse it? How can you continue to build on that? So absolutely easy to use for podcasts. And let me tell you this, guys. I've been designing enterprise applications for corporations that you probably used in the past for the past 20 years. I was at Dish Network, DoD, DOJ. Like, I've used applications, I've built these applications, enterprise level applications, bringing them to the current century. And I was like, if I can build applications for these people, why can't I do it for myself? So I went back to my core. I was like, I need to interview. I need to talk to more people. I need to talk to people who are in this struggle so that I can solve that problem. Because I already knew the problem, right? I lived through it for 8 years, 800 episodes, right? All of that. I was like, how can I make sure that they can also do it? So, Philip, I'm glad I answered your question. It is very easy, and I'll walk you through all of it in this live stream. Again, we're live streaming for the next 2.5 hours. I can't believe it's already been 30 minutes live streaming. We're going to be live streaming for 3 hours here. I'm going to go over the music. I'm going to show you what PodGlue does for you. So if you're here, stick around. If you want to come back and check it out later, good on you. I'm totally okay with that. As I am talking to ChatGPT at the same time, I'm going to send an email out to my list. Guys, we are here. We're live to my list that I am now live. I'll also show you some of the graphics I created. Let me see. Let's bring some of those graphics up on this live stream. Again, I should have spent some more time preparing for this, but we all got live. So here's the graphic that you probably saw on my live stream. This is what I, like, hey, it's the PodGlue launch. We're live streaming for 3 hours. It's got a little bit of agenda, what the app does, and if you're on the vertical, you might not see this. So let's see if I can make a duplicate of that. So here is the agenda, and you can see my head on top of it. And then I'll bring this over here. All right, so here's the agenda. I know it's really super tiny. I shouldn't even have it over here, but at least you kind of get an idea of what we're going to be talking about. So we talked about the album. We're going to go into the application pretty soon. But again, I want to get an idea of what else are you thinking? What else is in your brain that's going to help you to say, hey, this is a software for me. Now, as I'm listening to Jeff C. On the Podcasting Morning show earlier today, I was like, wow, he's doing so many things. And he's like, yes, I'm using this software and I'm using that software. And then I'm jumped into here. I was like, wow, this is really cool because I am literally doing all of that inside PodGlue. And it kind of blows my mind because, again, why can't I click on this? All right, let's do that. I'm just copying and pasting something, so if I'm distracted, that's probably the reason. So that was really important for me, right? To understand, hey, what the problem people are facing, and how can we make it so it's so much easier. So PodGlue came about because I was facing all these issues, and I'm probably should play some music, right? While I do this in the back end, let's play the next song. Now, this is the number one thing why I built PodGlue, because as I'm talking to these people, right, I'm talking to amazing, amazing human beings on the podcast. I get to listen to their journeys, to their stories, and how they took their passion to profit. Matthew Bliss has a question that I'm going to get to, but it's so important, right? We're all thinking about, oh my God, there's this, we're all chasing the content. We're all chasing the episode. But what I found was really more important that I was falling behind was building the relationship. So I coined a new term called PRM, Podcast Relationship Management. And I wrote a book on the philosophy. Like, here's the philosophy behind why a PRM engine should exist. Because not every person that's going to be a guest on your show or your audience is going to be your customer. But they could be so much more. They could be a friend. They could be a supporter. They could be somebody who cheers you on, right? Somebody who coaches you. So there's so many different levels of connections and relationships that we can build. How are we not focusing on that aspect? And now people who have been podcasting for a long while are probably already doing that. But people who are just getting started, they're thinking that it's all about the content. But it's so much more than that. I'm going to answer this question that Matthew has. How many large language models are you connecting to in the back end of PodGlue? Great question, Matthew. Great question. And because we're creating so many different types of content and relationships, I was like, every model is going to do a different thing. There's some models that can do better graphics. There's some models that can do better copy. So I've got 3 different large language models plugged into the back end of it. I've got ChatGPT, the latest version. I've got Google's Gemini, and I've got Claude. All these tools are behind the scenes, and we've got a proxy system that, again, says, hey, what type of content are we creating? We need to go to this model and generate that content. So again, I'm making a system that's built on top of replaceable engines, just like a car, right? Think about a car. A car has many different systems in place. Now, when you're buying a car, you can choose between a manual transmission or an automatic transmission. You could choose larger wheels or smaller wheels. You could choose leather interior or not. But the entire platform, the entire system is exactly the same. So when I'm building this system, I was like, hey, what things are replaceable and what thing do we want solidly in there? And here's the thing, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I've been working on this for the past 6 months. And that's past 6 months almost feels like a year of development that's gone into it. I'm sitting at version 1.9 right now of PodGlue, which is kind of amazing because I'm like, what is going on? Like, there's so many things, and it doesn't feel like I vomited all over it because I wanted to make sure that it makes sense, that every single tool that's in the software has a place, has a purpose, right? If you don't have a purpose for the tool that you're putting in there, then it doesn't belong there. You've got to have that purpose. You've got to have that emotional built in so that it makes sense. So let me play this next song called Relationship Engine because that's what we're building in here. Let's play it.
Everybody wants to talk about downloads. Nobody wants to talk about what happens after the download. Let me tell you what actually compounds. This ain't a content machine, stop calling it that. It's a trust accelerator, get your framing right back. 60 minutes with a stranger turns into a thread that could change your whole trajectory if you don't leave it for dead. But you published and you ghosted, moved on to the next. Said great conversation in a half-hearted text. No follow-up, no system, no place for the bond. Just a Spotify link sitting on an uncut lawn. This is a relationship engine, not a content machine. This is trust at the table, not just posts on a screen. This is a relationship engine. Every guest is a seed, and the ones you stop watering are the ones that you need. You had a founder on your show who believed in your vision. 3 weeks later, you forgot to send the permission for the quotes, for the clips, for the share page, for the post. And now that bridge you built is just a digital ghost. 100 episodes deep and your network still shallow, cause you never built a system for the seeds and the fallow. You called it a podcast, now you missed the frame. It was always a relationship engine, you just forgot to maintain. This is a relationship engine, not a content machine. This is trust at the table, not just posts on a screen. This is a relationship engine.
This is better.
Every guest is a seed, and the ones you stop
mic
watering
can't go any
are
louder
the ones
than this.
that you need.
That's the thing
The
when
mic
you have
is just
a USB
mechanism.
microphone, right?
The content is
I'm
just a
gonna
side
control the
effect.
volume of it.
The real product of a
I wish I had more
podcast
boost on my microphone.
is a
but
relationship you
I
protect.
really don't, right? So that song
Stop
is called
publishing. Start connecting.
Relationship Engine.
The engine's already running, you just haven't looked under the hood.
There we go. That was Relationship Engine. And again, it's the relationship that we get to build. And Matthew's saying, by the way, if you could turn up your microphone, the music is loud compared to your microphone. And that's because I don't have a cloud lifter on this guy, and I probably should be much closer to the microphone. Again, I didn't say this is going to be a perfect live stream, but it's going to be a human live stream, right? Yeah, so I'll make sure to keep an eye on that. And I want to make sure that my audio is in that yellow, and I see that it's getting in the yellow. Hopefully this is good enough. Thank you, Matthew, for jumping on. I admire your work, admire all the things that you're doing. So thank you so much. And Daniel was saying the music is hot. It's hot. My kids are jumping and listening, bouncing while having breakfast. I'm so happy. I'm so glad. I've got to in the music album, I've got 15 songs with different genres because I love music. Believe it or not, I absolutely love music. In fact, I launched an album for Podmatch last year, and I should have did a live stream like this so we can listen along to the songs. And maybe I might do that in 2 weeks or something, where you can go listen to the Podmatch album. The only problem is Podmatch album is now available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all those places. So if I play that music, they're going to flag me because again, those are licensed music now. Whereas this album is completely free. You can go check it out on Suno. I had dropped in the link to the thing earlier. If you want to go check out the album and listen on your own, head on over to podglue.com and /album to check out the album. Thank you so much for those comments. I appreciate you, Danny. All right, I've got another question from Matthew Bliss. The PR of things, right? Is there an aspect of PodGlue that works as a pure guest management without AI content generation component, like a CRM? And Matthew, such a powerful question. And yes, it does have that capability. I've built in a guest vault specifically to be able to track the guests that came on. What topics did they talk about, right? And that's not generating the AI content. We're pulling from the transcripts. We're pulling from different search results. We're pulling from different conversations that specific guests had on other podcasts into PRM so that we can, when we do build that next podcast episode with that guest, we're able to pull that in together. Matthew, thank you so much for sharing that link with those here on Facebook. But yeah, it's a 4 tools in one, or maybe more tools in one, because I wanted to make sure that it does all the things that I do on a daily basis. And I kept modifying, and I kept deepening the foundation of PodGlue. Because yes, we use a lot of different tools, and those tools are really powerful because they do one thing really good. For example, Calendly does that one thing absolutely amazingly. And I'm like, okay, that's really awesome. And of course, they keep adding new features, again, in that same realm, because they want their tool to be used by literally everybody. I was like, that's really powerful. I'm not everybody. I'm a podcaster, and I have a very specific needs. I want to make sure that the tool that I'm building for me does exactly that. I want it to be a tool that a podcaster can come in and start building their podcast. And I know you can't wait. I know you can't wait to see what PodGlue does. I can't wait to show you. Trust me, I've had 50 plus conversations with people one-on-one, and they're blown away. They're like, Junaid, you've given me so much to think. Like, I can't even imagine when you sleep. And that's the power of AI, right? We have these amazing tools that are continually pulling and be able to pull this together. I got to say happy birthday to my friend Shamira. She's not on this live stream, but I know there's a lot of other people who also share my birthday, like my wife's cousin Farkanda. Happy birthday to her. Angelina Jolie shares the birthday, so happy birthday to her as well. And let me put a happy birthday sign up real quick. Boom. Bina May Albino. Bina, thank you so much, my friend. You are the backbone for Hacks and Hobbies podcast. Literally, this lady over here has been with the Hacks and Hobbies podcast, which enabled me to do this research for the past 8 years. She's been with the podcast since day one, and she's been able to take the weight off my shoulder, like literally take the weight off my shoulder so I can go and record the podcast episodes. And she helps with the post-production and getting those episodes out on the platforms. She's been a monumental help for the podcast. Literally, my friends, I have 60 episodes in the backlog. Right now, I have 60 episodes in the backlog. Like if I didn't want to record anything for the next month, I'd be totally fine. And we're dropping 2 to 4 episodes a week. And that's all thanks to my good friend Bina right here. She's celebrating birthday. So yeah, happy birthday to all those other people that shared the birthday with me. I've sent messages to a few other folks as well who have birthdays in the same day. Happy birthday, my friend. Just in fact, I was dropping off my son to his Montessori school, and the principal's son also has a birthday today. And she's like, no wonder we clicked off so well because we share the same birthday. Now, I'm going to play this next song, Forge. And this is a electro synthwave, a little upbeat. And then we're going to go directly into PodGlue after this one. So this is called Forge, track number 6 on the PodGlue album.
Forge bars of pulsing bass.
Hold on, let me start over.
Forge bars of pulsing bass. Bars pulsing bass in one conversation recorded in the dark. 60 minutes burning like a single spark. Raw audio sitting in the cloud somewhere, full of quotes and moments and ideas rare. But you exported it and left it there to die. One file in a folder. Tell me why you're sitting on a gold mine, but you're mining with your hands. One take, one talk, one chance to expand. Take it to the forge. One spark, 1,000 forms. Transcript into chapters, quotes into storms. Take it to the forge. Signal from the noise. Summaries and sound bites give the episode a voice. One conversation multiplied. Nothing left inside that needs to hide. Take it to the forge. Let it all ignite. Pull the threads and watch the tapestry unfold. Timestamps, topics, key quotes, liquid gold. Guest approval page assembled in a flash. Share links ready, promo clips that land and last. What took you 14 hours now takes 14 clicks. The raw material was always there, you just needed the mix. You're sitting on a gold mine, but you're mining with your hands. One take, one talk, one chance to expand. Take it to the forge. One spark, 1,000 forms. Transcript into chapters, quotes into storms. Take it to the forge. Signal from the noise. Summaries and sound bites give the...
There we go. That was Forge, and it's still playing. I know I'm trying to fade it out. Only if I had it built into the scenes, it would have been so much easier. Let me turn off these things over here. Got my friend Andrew Wong wishing me happy birthday. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you. And I'm going to set up a room later on if you all want to jump in and ask more questions about PodGlue. I'm actually going to be doing a weekly office hour so y'all can jump in and learn how to use PodGlue, or ask questions, or ask me, hey, can it do this? And guess what? I actually built out a community.podglue.com where you can go and see different ideas that I've got plugged in here. Let me see if it's still working. Yes, it's got top ideas built in. So community.podglue.com. Let me pop it in here. And anybody can be part of this community. They can put in ideas that you're interested in, and I will build it in. Let me grab the link to the live stream again. Copy video URL. And live streaming. celebrating my birthday. So we are almost up to the first hour of this live stream, and thank you so much for all the folks that came on. I really, really appreciate you. We had Andy, Matthew, Danny, Danny. Who else is there? Bina. Thank you so much, Bina. Philip Hill. We have some more folks over here, and then we got Jenny Gold, my good friend from Colorado, wishing me a happy birthday. And then we had RJ Ahmed. He's friggin' amazing service that he offers for podcasters. Again, I'm working with other agencies as well because I want to make sure that this software can help solve the problem that you are. And yes, I did have my low volume. I got Shaili Hakimian saying, congratulations on this, Shaili. You're going to love this, my friend. Just stick around. I'm going to share what this tool looks like. It is an absolutely amazing product. So let me set up my live stream share. I did have something set up, but I'm going to go to preview mode. And while you wait, I'm going to let the music play from the last song. This is Take You to the Forge. I keep wanting to call it Take You to the Forge, but it's called Forge on the PodGlue album.
Nothing left inside that needs to hide. Take it to the forge.
I want to make sure it's not too loud as I set up my mode over here.
From one, many, from raw, ready, from conversation, ammunition, from episode, ecosystem. The forge doesn't create something new. It reveals what was already true. Every episode had this inside. You just didn't have the tools to find it.
I'm just setting up the scenes on the back end. So if you're enjoying this music, let me know. Drop it in the comments. I am posting all the comments that are coming through. And of course, the next song comes in without stopping, so I'm just going to pause it over here. It's new wave 80s music. So again, I was mentioning earlier how I love music and how I wanted to create all sorts of music for y'all to listen to. Let me update the other one here as well, Google Chrome AI Podcast. And unlock, resize, and you can't see what I'm doing because it's behind the scenes. Let's close this and lock it up again. All right, so I'm ready to show you what PodGlue is, but before I do that, let me minimize some other windows so I am less distracted. All right, I'm going to go to the home page of my command deck, refresh the page, latest version loaded. Absolutely. All right, so if y'all are ready to see what this PodGlue business is all about, drop a 1 in the comments. Just do it. Just drop a 1 in the comment. I want to see if you're ready for this as much as I'm ready for this. Right? Loopback audio is muted. Let's unmute this. And I want to make sure that as I switch to the other scenes, I'm not muted. Because believe it or not, I did that once. I was doing a live stream for an hour or 30 minutes, and 20 minutes of it I was muted. And I'm like, what just happened? So let's go. Danny Murray says 11111. Let's do it. let's jump into PodGlue. Back to live mode. All right. So here it is. So because we jumped through so many applications, I want to show you the home deck of my podcast. Again, I've got tons of episodes on my podcast, so it might look different than what you might experience once you bring in your show. So here we go. PodGlue in 3, 2, 1. So here is PodGlue. This is the home command deck of the podcast. Once you've gone through the setup process, you've got the command deck. It shows you, hey, what needs attention. These are the podcast episodes that I'm working on. These are the podcast episodes that I have. Then over here in the dashboard, again, this is all can change, but again, it comes together. We've got 4 different pillars: create, plan, grow, and manage your podcast. Because what's hard is that you need a solution, a system, and I'm getting distracted because my good friend Brian is here. Brian Schulman. Oh my God, I love you, my man. He's here. He's saying, Junaid, I love you. He's sharing happy Nifty 50. By the way, yes, I am turning 50. The Nifty 50. He's been amazing. He's helped me grow so much in the past few years. He's been number one supporter of me everywhere I go. Yes, thank you so much. I'm only amazing because I have amazing people around me, and PodGlue is absolutely transformational. So transformational, it absolutely is. So let's jump back in to what PodGlue does for us. So let me hide. Thank you, Brian. I love you. So here's PodGlue. This is the home command that kind of gives you an overview of what you can do with your application, with your podcast, right? So the number one place where you're going to probably hang it out at is the library. So let's go ahead and open the library of my podcast. Here's all of the podcast episodes that I've done, that guest has come on. And of course, if it's too dark for you, let's just turn on the lights. And here's the reason why I use dark mode. Look at the reflection on my glasses. You see that? As soon as I go to dark mode, boom, those reflections are gone. So that's one of the reasons why I have dark mode. And believe it or not, I mean, when we're podcasting, we're usually working at nighttime. So who wants that blaring light shining at you? So that's why we enable dark mode. And you can switch to different modes, of course. So here is the dashboard. Here's the library for your podcast where you can manage, you can edit, and you can organize your episodes. I've got a cool filter option over here, so you can say, hey, give me the episode that has missing transcripts, right? Apparently I have none of them, or has transcripts. So these ones, all of these has transcripts in him. Give me the episodes that are solo only. Give me episodes that are on season 5. So I've got lots of different ways to, again, go through this. So let's take a look. We have an episode with Mark Savant right here. It aired April 18, 2023. So we're going to, again, this is the power of PodGlue. You can take your back catalog. This episode was published in 2023. That's 3 years ago, guys. But I have a home for that episode now. This is the home for that episode. So if I click through to this Mark Savant's episode or Gabriel Legal's episode, I love this guy. Let's go to this one. And here says, here's the home for this podcast episode. But what's missing? What's missing right here, guys? Do you see this? It's missing the source intelligence. What is a source intelligence? Think about it. The conversation that we're having, the conversation that I'm having right now with you, or with myself, is the source conversation. Our words spoken in our tone is what makes this so powerful and what makes podcasting so powerful, because it's personalized to you and you alone. So here in the source intelligence, I can click on, hey, go ahead and transcribe this podcast episode. And because I have access to the URL of that MP3, I can quickly go and pull in that transcript from that audio, transcribe it on the fly, and within 60 seconds, the transcript is right here. And yes, it's I'm not counting down to 60 seconds, but you get what I'm saying. Now, there's some other things that I want to show you in here. Now, up here, I have several different stages of a podcast because, believe it or not, when you're podcasting, each podcast episode goes through several different stages. You've got the idea, you got the post-production, you're then recorded, you got the post-production, ready for publishing, and then the episode is published. So I'm going to change this stage of this episode that this is published, live, and distributed. So what it does, it changes the menus that I have available. So I'm in the prepare tab right now. Now, if I were in the idea stage, and I'll show you, if I were in the idea stage, it gives me pre-show, run of the show, host questions, audience questions, promo copy. It gives me all of those things because it's going to help me prepare the episode. And now that it's done pulling the transcript, you can see the entire transcript is right here. Boom. All right, so the episode is transcribed. I can switch back to this to published. And then go in here. Okay, here's the entire transcript. Perfect. The next thing that I want to do, once I've transcribed and pull the transcript in, I want to take it to the Forge, like that song, take it to the Forge, because one click is going to create all the content that's going to help pull in the insights, the intellectual property, the chapter markers from this specific transcript. This transcript has 48,046 characters synced with the database. So let's run that and let's see what happens. So this is you taking to the episode to the Forge. It's going to analyze the conversation, finalizing metadata, identify, and I should probably play the Forge song just in the back as we're doing this.
In one conversation recorded in the dark, 60 minutes burning like a single spark. Raw audio.
There we go. That raw audio came in. I've got the conversational essence of that episode. Gabe Leal details his path to content creation. Spurred by a desire for change and a challenge to step outside his comfort zone, initially aiming for a career shift, he found his calling on LinkedIn by creating videos, overcoming platform limitations and networking. Inspired by others like Russ Johns, Gabe transitioned to live streaming and hosting his own show. So again, it pulls all of that from that transcript. This is technically the show note version for your episode, right? You could take this and you could post it in there, but we will show you other ways that you're pulling in. So this is pulling in all of that stuff. It even shows me, hey, he's complementing this, his R's framework, regroup, reevaluate, recalibrate, respond. Again, this episode was published April 27, 2023. It's over 3 years, but I can go back to that episode. I can pull all of that stuff in, and boom, I've got this thing. I've got some follow-up ideas here as well. What's your challenge word that ignites your growth, right? These are questions that I can either go back to him and ask him, or bring him on again, or even ask these questions to my audience. Hey, what's you thinking about? You'll notice another thing. These are some mentioned resources that the PodGlue software is pulling up. It's got the R's, regroup, reevaluate, recalibrate, and if I wanted to, I can add a link to this thing, which will take people to his solutions. I've got mention over here Russ Johns and Steve Sullivan. May God bless him. The Shawshank Redemption movie that we talked about. Matthew McConaughey, we talked about his book, and Gabe Leal. And then again, down here, we've got additional continuation plan so that we're not just focusing on building the podcast. We're focusing on building that relationship. And I got a happy birthday coming in from my good friend Vernon Brown. Vernon, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bro, you got to check PodGlue out. Find some time on my calendar. Or I'll find some time on your calendar. I'll show you in person. Or jump on one of our weekly demo calls for PodGlue. Thank you so much for wishing me my happiest birthday. Guys, I had no idea what I was going to do today. My wife's traveling, all the kids are at school, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to launch my software because I've been working on it so hard and it solves so many problems for podcasters. So, in this continuation plan, it gives me content gaps and curiosity hooks that I can use to create more content, to create more connections with people in my email list, with people that are listening to the podcast. Again, making it super, super easy so that it's usable. All right, I'm gonna move this guy a little down over here. Okay, so that is the Forge continuation plan. Gives me strategic follow-ups and curiosity loops. For example, what was the specific context or realization that led Gabe to choose challenge as his starting point? The power of a single word to catalyze significant personal and professional transformation is a compelling concept. And think about it, right? Who here has done challenges before? Just type a 1 or a 2 in here, and let me know what you think. Carrie Willis says, checking in from Indiana. Thank you so much, Carrie. Appreciate you checking in this software. I'm launching PodGlue. And then down here, I've got core ideas pulled in from that conversation because, again, we want no hallucination. We want no guessing and assumptions. We're basing all of the content generation extraction on that conversation that real human beings had on the podcast. And that is a power that we can leverage with AI and the software that we're building. She has a question. Are you able to see comments across platforms when you're live? Yes, I can. I can see comments on Facebook. I can see comments coming in from LinkedIn, I believe, and YouTube. So far, I've been seeing comments from Facebook and YouTube. So those two platforms are working. If anybody's over there on LinkedIn, go drop a comment in here. By the way, the software that I'm using is Ecamm Live. It lets me live stream to multiple different formats and platforms all at the same time. And they've got a powerful, powerful community. So thank you, Carrie Willis, for that question. Clarity pays for life. Amen to that. So let's go back to PodGlue. Here's PodGlue. For example, embracing challenge for growth is an idea. The legacy of sharing stories. The importance of consistency and adaptation. Again, these are the core high-level ideas that Gabe and I talked about on this podcast episode. Further down, I've got chapter markers. So if I wanted to say, hey, did he mention something about this and this and this? Where can I go and listen to it? And boom, starting with family and friends, right? I can go exactly how he got started with his podcast. Because before he reached a wider audience, he asked his family and friends to come in. And guess what I did in 2018? That's exactly what I did. I pulled in audience and I pulled in friends and family and people that I knew close enough to bring in on the podcast. So the Forge is pulling all of that information together. The next thing that is pulling, this is the most important foundational thing. This is a PRM thing that we were talking about earlier, is the guest identity. Of course, it's missing right now, and I'm not sure why. Let's see. We will find Gabe in here, and it's not finding Gabe, and that's totally fine. We'll go to another episode. Again, as the software has been developing, there's new features that I'm adding to that sometimes breaks old features, but then we can go quickly and fix that. So let's take a look at this episode, which actually just dropped May 27, 2026, with Elaine Johnston, another good friend that I made through streaming live through Unconventional Leaders, and she's absolutely amazing. So I'll show you what the guest feature looks like. Here's Elaine Johnston's information. It pulls in a little bit of the profile of who she is, and I can update this professional background and story as well. I've got the name of the guest, I've got the expertise that she has. Again, all of this is pulled from the transcript, and as well as the expertise notes that I showed earlier. And you can also save all of her social media profiles right over here. Again, I want to make sure that I'm connected with the guest that came on the show. I want to make sure that they know that I care about them and that I'm going to continue to help them build their following, help them build their confidence. And that's what this application lets me do. So let me switch back to here, and I've got a question from my new friend, Carrie Willis. Question: I host several podcasts. Is this in beta mode or available now? Carrie, great question. I'm launching this, and on June 4th, on my birthday, it's available to everybody now. You still need to know somebody who has access to it because there does require an invitation code. So even though it's launched, so yeah, this is where you want to be. So yes, it is available. If you're interested, head on over to podglue.com / dang, is it join? Now I'm confused. What's the join? There's so many join. Yeah, if you go to / join, it's going to take you to the join waitlist. So head on over to podglue.com / join. And by the end of the stream, I'm going to invite you in to join the software. And I've got my good friend Jordan Mendoza coming in as well, wishing me a happy birthday. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And yes, Gabe Lear was featured. He is my absolute friend. And absolutely, Jordan, head on over to podglue.com / join, and you can join the waitlist, and I will send you a personal invite directly from the heart. Thank you so much, brother. Really excited to see you here. All right, I'm going to move on back to going over the application. So here's the guest tab for that specific episode. Now, sometimes you have the same guest coming on multiple times. Well, we're tracking that resource, those appearances as well. Right now you can see that she was a guest on 2 episodes with 2 different titles as well. So again, I'm tracking how many times has this guest been on my show. And over time, you kind of remember, but this helps you not have to remember because it stores this information in one place. So that's the guest tab. Lots of things going on in here. Of course, I can upload a photo in here for her as well. And then, of course, we're also generating this image. Now, you might be wondering, this is cool, Junaid, but how does it know who I want to talk to? Well, those are some things that we are, again, over time, as you're building your relationship, your network, you know people that want to come and be a guest on the show. So you send them a link, you have a conversation, you push it in here, and now you're keeping track of that. And talking about keeping track, let me go over to the next mode, which is amplify. Because once you've recorded the episode, what's the next thing what we do? Once you've published the episode, what's the next thing you want to do? You want to make sure that you promote the episode on all the different social media platforms, all the different ways. And yes, there are ways that you can create video clips and whatnot and share it with the world. But you got to have a process in place to be able to do it. And yes, you probably built a process that makes you and helps you go build it out. But what if everything was in one place? And that's what I had designed to do, is to create social content for that episode. So here we already have the transcript. We already have the foundation for that episode, because again, we want to lead people into saying, hey, this is what you're going to learn from this episode. So we're building that title. We're creating that LinkedIn post right here. So here's a LinkedIn post that we created directly from that podcast episode, that podcast transcript. And you'll notice 2 buttons up here. There's a copy button, so I can copy this text and paste it to my LinkedIn. Or if you've gone through the setup process and integrated LinkedIn with a one-click deploy, and I'll show you how that works, I can simply click on this little icon over here, take a look at, hey, do I like all of this? I don't want this in here at all. I'm going to take that out. I've got the hashtags in here. And all I got to do is click on this post to LinkedIn. And this is the moment of truth, right? It's now on LinkedIn. So very simply, click the button there and pull it up. So let me show you. This just happened. This literally just happened, right? I'm going to go to my... Wow, I've got so many comments on LinkedIn because people are wishing me happy birthday. Here's my profile on LinkedIn. Here's all the posts, and look, there's Elaine's episode posted just now. And here's the thing that I did. I wanted to make sure that we're not posting links in the posts because that takes away the person from the platform. What you want to do is post a link as a first comment. And guess what I did? I posted the link to the episode so people can go listen to the episode with Elaine directly in that first comment. So, and when you click on this episode, guess where it takes us? It takes you to a dedicated page for Elaine, pulling in all the things that we put together into one page. The Seth Godin, the Beatles, the ChatGPT, things that we mentioned, all right here. The 5 takeaways, the timestamps of the conversation, links to guests, all saved in here. Quotes that she said in the chapter, all over here. So I wanted to make it so easy for my podcast hosts that it just takes all of the pain out of their podcast production. And if somebody's interested, oh my God, I want to listen to this Apple podcast, I've got a link built in right here. So I'll go to Spotify, I've got a link built in right here so they can simply click and go to listen to that episode. All right, let's go back to the show. Click dismiss. So posting to LinkedIn directly from within here. Should I go down this rabbit hole, say yes, say 1, or 2, continue moving? 1 is going to go to the rabbit hole where I show you how this integration works, and 2 will continue. I'll continue to move to the next stage. I'm waiting on that question. Yes, that's a powerful question. Does this main post and first comment post happen simultaneously for LinkedIn? Yes, absolutely yes. So in the system, in the back end, when you're connecting to the API for LinkedIn, and I'll show you, I'm using LinkedIn's API to push this comment over. So let me go to the settings page. Let's go. Settings page. Just loading the view. All right, integrations. I've got 6 integrations that I'm working on. I've got LinkedIn working. I've got Threads working. And what it does, it pulls in. Oops, got an error. Got to fix an error. It connects, it bounds your account to your LinkedIn account so that you can post without an issue directly from here. So amplify, social lab. Yep. So it'll post directly and it'll post that first comment simultaneously. So as you see here, it was posted now. This is posted now. And that's something that LinkedIn API has built in that says, hey, do you want to post a first comment at the same time as you're posting the post? So you don't have to go and wait. For example, when you schedule post and like, oh my God, I gotta remember to post a link in the first comment, and then you forget because you've got life, right? But in the app, we're building that. We built it directly into here, so it's easy for you to do your work and continue moving. So that's the LinkedIn post. The next step is the LinkedIn events. The LinkedIn event is a launch premiere, so you can set up a little event, say, hey, this episode is going to drop, blah, 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 and then it kind of tells people to be ready to go listen to the episode. So again, a little thing. You don't have an integration for it because it's a different API key, so we're like, hey, just copy, paste it if you want to use it. Next up, we're building in threads and X, a little short post that you can post to your threads for short form discovery. Again, since threads is hooked up, I can click on this button and send it out over. Next one is Instagram, feeling the pressure to show up but finding yourself stuck, right? So it's creating this comment that I can then copy and paste to the other platforms. Now, Carrie has another question. And before I show the question, I want to show this part. PodGlue definitely appears to be a game changer for podcasts. Thank you, Carrie. And that's what I've been thinking. That's what I've been focused on, to be able to a system, because literally I'm heating my own dog food over here. I'm eating my own dog food because I want to make sure that this solves all the problems, all the things that are going in my head for me. Because when it does that, then it's also doing it for you, because you're also a podcaster, right? So it's definitely a game changer. We've got question from Carrie Willis saying, what social media platforms are available through PodGlue? I've shown it here. Let me go back to the settings and integrations page. These are the current platforms that I'm working on building in. There's one more platform that I was thinking about, but that's not showing here. But we've got LinkedIn, we've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, Instagram, Threads. And if you have a WordPress site or a website, you can integrate it into here as well. I'm going to go. So hopefully that answers your question, Carrie. I appreciate you asking this question and being interested in what PodGlue can do for you. And guys, stick around. There's so much more. Like, I blew my friend Adam, who's been podcasting since 2012. He's like, Junaid, you've thought of everything, haven't you? I'm like, yes, I kind of have. And that takes me to the next stop right here. I'm building a newsletter for you guys. For every episode that you publish, I've got a newsletter for you built right in here so that you can share with your community. Get a new episode out. Let's go push it. And with email integration, you can simply click on it, send link, and it'll send it to your email. That's also coming. We're going to have Kit integration or email marketing integration, so you can simply use your email marketing software that you already have to be able to go and build things. We'll also have a blog/article, so this can go to your website. It can go to your personal site. It can go to your blog, your podcast website, all built in right here. Right? It simplifies it. And then this last thing that I've added is a viral engine. So let's click on this button, and while we wait, I've got Raul Lopez saying, I jumped in kind of in the middle. What are you saying? Jumped in kind of is what you're sharing here the marketing side of podcasting? Yes. It's not just marketing only, Raul. It's also building that relationship, right? Yes, marketing is important, but then building the relationship with your podcast guest is so important. And looks like my viral content engine is down. I can take a look at it and have one of my developers go fix it. So that's what it is. That's what it's doing. And my good friend Robert Brooker is saying, happy birthday, Junaid. Yes, it is my birthday. It is my birthday. I turned 50 today. And to celebrate, I was like, why not do a live stream? I like talking to people. I've literally talked to people for 800 hours over the past 8 years. And that kind of blows me. Like, who here has talked to people? Not just that. I mean, we've all talked to people for hundreds of hours, but who here has talked to people for hundreds of hours and has proof to showcase on a podcast? That's what I'm talking about. And because I have all that content, it's so much easier to build in these tools around it. And Raul, thank you so much for wishing me a happy birthday as well. Appreciate you. I am going to go get some cake. I have not had any cake yet. In fact, it calls for another song right here. I'm going to leave this over here while I play this next song. And guys, this is the entire reason how I got here. This is the entire reason how I got here. And this song literally sums up everything. And if you are ready for a hot track to listen to, like literally, I was building a home studio for a client of mine last week, and I was like, dude, you gotta check out this track. And he's like, oh my god, this is so good. This is so good. So I'll play it for you right now because y'all deserve to listen to it. Thank you again for sticking around here with me yapping away. Here it is.
The hack is understanding that this is a long game.
This is a long game. It's called Show Up.
Get into it understanding. You're gonna put 5 years into this work. Monday morning, nobody's listening. Microphone's cold and the numbers aren't glistening. 37 downloads on the episode you poured yourself into, and the algorithm didn't even notice you existed. You checked the stats again at lunch like it might have changed. It didn't, and the voice in your head rearranged every reason you started into every reason to stop. And the only thing keeping you going is the fact that you haven't dropped. But here's the thing about seeds, you don't get to watch them grow in real time. You just keep planting in the dark, and trust the soil, and trust the time. When nobody's clapping, when the numbers don't move, when the guest cancels Wednesday and you've got nothing left to prove. Not because it's easy, not because it's fun, because the only thing that compounds is the work that doesn't get undone. I heard Seth Godin on a podcast, pulled my car to the side, made a promise to myself I'd write every single day. Lasted 10 days, then I wrote about how hard it was to last. Then I came back, then I stopped, then I came back again. The failure wasn't failing, the failure would have been the final stop. And every time I restarted, the muscle got a little less soft. Episode 1 to 100 felt like shouting in a cave. Episode 500 felt like standing in the thing I gave. The thing about consistency is it doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care about your audience size. It only cares if you showed up and followed through. When nobody's clapping, when the numbers don't move, when your kids need dinner and the edit's only halfway through. Not because you're certain, not because you're brave, because the only thing that compounds is the thing you refuse to trade. Holla had 3,000 downloads a month for 2 full years before anything moved. DJ Strict practiced radio for 15 years. Before he found his voice, I published 500 episodes. Before I understood what I was building, none of us were patient. We were just too stubborn to stop. This is for the early mornings. This is for the late nights. This is for the ones still planning when everybody else turned off the lights. Because a year from now, you'll wish you'd started here. Because the compound's working even when you can't see it clear. Consistency is not a character trait. It's a system, and the system only asks you one thing.
So that was Show Up. an EDM version, and James Hicks is asking if he made the album. You didn't make the album, buddy, but you made this book right here, Power of Community, right here. You, my friend, have made the book, and there will be more songs celebrating you and your communities. Thank you so much, James. I appreciate you. I know you sent me a text earlier wishing me a happy birthday. Appreciate you so much. This has been a long time coming. And I was literally crying listening to that song because the words are so real. Because here's the thing. And I'm like reading the words, I'm listening to the song, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying on live stream. And because it's so real, we're all podcasters. We all are human, right? And if you stop showing up, nobody knows. But even when you keep showing up, you build that solution, right? So let me read the lyrics. All right, so show up when nobody's clapping. Show up when the numbers don't move. Show up when the guest cancels Wednesday. Who here has had a guest who canceled on a episode that you were looking forward to record? We've all had those experiences, but we continue to show up because we're showing up not because it's easy, not because it's fun, because the only thing that compounds is the work that doesn't get undone. When you show up, when you create these episodes, my first season of podcasting, I kept showing up, I kept recording, I kept building the solution, right? And here's the thing. We keep planting in the dark, and the soil, we trust this time to watch those plants grow. It's so, so important. Here's the part that makes me cry. Where it goes? There you go. The thing about consistency is it doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care about your audience size. It only cares if you showed up and followed through. So are you showing up and following through? And that's what I'm doing. And that's exactly what I built this software, PodGlue, is because it's going to help you to continue to show up. And literally something that I'm building into this application is the ability to create content designed on your voice, on your skill, on your conversation. So that was Social Lab. It's got all the content that's creating, but that's not it, right? We also want to build some carousels. These are carousels that are built off of the conversation we had. I've got 8 different styles right now, royal and mint. And again, it does the same thing. It posts these posts onto your LinkedIn and post that first comment. And if you want to export this as a zip file so you can post it on other platforms, you can absolutely do that as well. So again, this is the Carousel Studio. Let's go to the next one. This is the most important thing, believe it or not, is telling the podcast. There you go. Is telling the podcast host, hey guest, your podcast episode is live. Go share it. And we have so many different things that we send them. Most of us are just sending them a link to the podcast URL on Spotify or whatever software that you're using. And it's like, hey, they're like, what am I supposed to do? Like, everybody's got to do some work, right? But what if they don't have to? And Carrie Willis to talk about, my podcast is booked through September, but I've had to replace 2 guests due to cancellations or rescheduled, right? But we keep showing up. So thank you so much for sharing that, Carrie. It's so important, right, to have that constant mind of continuing to build that platform. The car might stop, but what if it keeps going? And we're the engine that's powering it, and our podcast is the byproduct of all the things that we get to do. My God, this is the longest live stream that I've ever done before. So thank you guys for sticking around, for coming and checking me out. I really, really appreciate you. And I really want to show you that this PodGlue is going to change the game for your podcast. Like, I've been in the trenches for literally 8 years podcasting. Not just that, I'm building this as I go along, as the problems that I've seen. And Carrie, I so appreciate you, PodGlue fan. Thank you so much. I don't think there's anything better for podcasters. And Carrie, you're saying this after only seeing maybe 10% of PodGlue can do. Wait till you see what I've got in store for you guys. Like, I just want to make sure that you're either sitting down or not drinking water when I share this few things that are coming in here. Okay, this is really, really powerful, and I know it's my 50th birthday, and I wanted to bring this to the world. I'm wearing a shirt right here that says "Serve First." I'm here to serve all podcasters. I've got a poster here that says "Serve First" because I want to serve my people, my podcasters, my people, my entrepreneurs, and with PodGlue, I believe that I'm able to do that. There's some features in the backlog that are going to blow your mind, because here's the thing that we, as podcasters, there's so many different strategies I can do, and that's what people are looking for. Hey, how many different strategies can I run on my podcast? And the fact of the matter is, any podcaster that is a DIY podcaster or an indie podcaster, we're probably doing one or two strategies, but there can be a successful podcast is running anywhere from 4 to 5 to 6 different strategies on their podcast, which is really good. But we all need a home for that podcast, for that episode, to see what happens. So let me show you this next section. And I'm literally switching between 2 different scenes, and of course, going through this page. So once I've got this episode created and imported and run through the Forge, I've got a guest launch alert. I've built a dedicated page just for the guest. So they get this email, they get this link. Quick ways to make the launch pop and beat pod fade. Post a short LinkedIn note using the copy above, or forward the newsletter snippet to your list. Right? I'm creating all of this content for my podcast guest so that they can send this to their audience. And this way I'm connecting with them. As a podcast host, I'm connecting with them. So let me show you what this link looks like. Again, Elaine is a good friend. She was a guest on the show. I sent her this page. Hey, Elaine, you're my partner. Here's a portal that I've created just for you. Change the color, right, just to make sure that I'm looking at whatever time. She can go here, click play, and listen to the episode that she was on my podcast. Right here. She doesn't have to jump around, go to, listen to right here. And the cool part, this plays really well on mobile platform as well. So I've got this. I've got her bio, and she's like, hey, can we update this bio? And we'll add a way for her to update this. I've got some additional copy down here, LinkedIn post, Twitter, newsletter copy. All of this stuff is here for her. I got some shareable images that I've got that created in here as well. And some books and resources, some shareable quotes. Again, these are quote cards that she can download and share it with her community. I wanted to make it that easy for my podcast guests. Because if you remove the friction for your podcast guest to share your podcast, guess who's going to send you more guests? It's going to send you more people over. I want to say hello to my good friend, Gabe. Thank you so much, Gabe, for hanging out here, coming to the broadcast. We were talking about you earlier, and Carrie was like, hey, Gabe, we talked about you. Let me share that comment right here. Boom. Gabe, you were featured. We were looking at your podcast episode that we were on many moons ago. Let me see if I can pull up that episode. Oh yeah, let me type in. And here's the thing, right? So if let me go back to sharing the screen. I was like, hey, I talked to Gabe. I remember I talked to Gabe on the podcast. So type in Gabe. Gabe. I guess. Oh, it's Gabriel. There we go. So Gabriel's episode is right here. There he goes. He's got the blue going on. Matches. It kind of matches with the blue, blue in my logo, which is really cool. So his transcript is all right here. His forge, we forged the thing over here, and I can go in here and create some more content. Ooh, hide the studio footage. I've got a whole trailer built out here that I can go shoot a trailer to promote the podcast episode. I'm building all of this based on that conversation. And Gabe, thank you so much, man. He's been one of the earlier beta testers. I've had about 40 beta testers test this application out, and he's been seeing it as it's grown, as it's come to this point. Like, I didn't have the capability to collapse this before. I was like, let me collapse this so we have more room to the content that we're creating here. I'm going to hit run social pass, so then it also goes and runs. But again, I wanted to make this so easy for anybody coming in and starting a podcast. And talking about starting a podcast, I've been wanting to start a solo podcast episode that I haven't been able to, because I'm constantly bringing guests on the show. Like, there was a point where I had 40 podcast episodes in the bank, and I was like, oh my God, I still have to record the intro. That was a fun problem to have. But I've been wanting to do solo podcasts. So I know we're towards the end of showing you what other features are in the thing over here. So here's a YouTube metadata description that we've come together with. We got 3 different variations for when you post this episode to your YouTube. And then you can run YouTube tests. Hey, which title worked the best? And then you can say, hey, this one works best. And we're building in more features and capabilities so that we're tracking all of that as well, right? So we have all of this stuff here saved. And I wanted to make it so easy. Like, look at this part, right here. What do you see here? Thumbnail prompt variations. These are thumbnail prompts that you can copy and take it to your AI software to create thumbnails for this episode. All you need is your logo, your graphic, your logo, the face, your face and your guest's face, and paste it over there, and boom, you've got a prompt to, again, build that. And yes, we will be adding ways to build these things in here. And talking about generating images, let's jump on over to the visual assets. In the visual assets, like we saw earlier, we had the quote cards right here, but we also have a way to create a visual asset in 3 different formats. So I've got a button here that says generate a visual, and I'm using Nano Banana Pro 2, and we'll be adding in GPT-4, the latest GPT as well. Here we go. We've got an image created here. And of course, this episode number doesn't look right, so let me quickly edit this. And this is episode 04. And save that. And then I can generate a square image. And I probably want to add the title in here, right? So here's the title. I can just add it and remove it as I go, and I can just download. So this would be this one and I can just download it. Generate visual. And boom, it is coming in here as well. So again, image generation built in here. And these images are now available for Gabriel on the other end on his portal page, because I want to make sure that he's got content to share the episode. And when you give gifts to your guests, guess what happens? They become a better friend that wants to work with you so much more. Gabe saying, anyone who wants to try out PodGlue, we can record an episode with PodGlue and see the results in real time. Yes, that's something that I haven't revealed yet, but kind of like a teaser there. A recording studio in here. Yeah, we're going to get there. All right, so here's the other thumbnail that was generated using this. Additional media links that you can add to show your guests, hey, we've got more things for you to share. And then, of course, the most important thing is insights into, hey, how did my episode do? What's my SEO lab audit looks like for where the state of the podcast is right now. So it comes back with an intent analysis. I can hit refresh, and this will change the visual rank. It'll give me, look at that, 100%. Here's some additional keywords that I can use. Here's the title laboratories to use additional titles for this episode with your testing. Optimized description that you can copy. Additional things that we're, again, searching against search content, and we're adding more features. Not more features, but, making it so it's just streamlined for you, right? Simplifying that. And the last but not least is my favorite, manuscript pass. So every single episode that you have in your library, even if you have episodes from the past that you're no longer creating a new podcast episodes, you can pull in old episodes and build a whole chapter from that article, from that episode. So here's an episode that we wrote. Here's a chapter, that we wrote based on Elaine Johnston's episode. And you can see right here, adapted from the conversation with Elaine Johnston. Title, and this is all written in your language. Number one is just practice showing up on camera. You don't have to upload it. Nobody has to see it. All right, so these are things that we talked about. So again, it's building the chapter based on that conversation that we had. And here's the chapter generated for Gabriel's episode. And you can use it as newsletter. You can use it as, whatever it is, however you want it. But we're building this content so that it's so much easier for you to continue to grow your podcast. So those are all of the things inside the library. Of course, I haven't shown you the idea section of it. Again, there's so many different levels. In the idea section, you can actually generate your cover right over here. Right, so I have my guest saved in here. I can put in Gabriel. I don't know why it's not showing up. Anyways, errors to fix. And then you can generate all formats. Of course, it's looking for some information here to generate, guest name, guest photo, logo, and one-to-one template is required. So again, lots of things in here to make sure that your episode is on the right track. Now, I show you all of these stages, right? These stages help you keep track of where your episode lives. So that's under manage, under production, and yes, I have a ton of episodes, so I've got an idea bank. Hey, these are podcast episodes in my idea. Stop blaming your tiny room for bad video quality. You don't need a massive studio, right? So I can go to this episode or move it to this stage, or I can go directly into this episode. This is a brand new episode, solo episode that I'm building. And I was like, I need some help. I need some support. PodGlue, can you please help me come up with some ideas? And it built a opening teleprompter script, a run of the show for me. And you're like, wait, Junaid, where did that come from? Well, let me go into that mode, which is under plan. So we went through create, we have episodes, and import. So, but before I go into plan, I want to make sure that you understand as a podcaster who has an RSS feed and has built your podcast over time, you can simply go to import, drop in your RSS feed, click on fetch episodes, and it'll show me, hey, these are new episodes that are on your show. I have 750 episodes. Look at that, guys. So scan the selected one and import and sync. And that one is synced right here, pulled in directly from the RSS feed. And I can simply go to it, pull in the audio transcribe, go back, continue working. It's going to go do this thing, but then over here you can see this autopilot. So as I'm working on other sections of the podcast, I can simply click on autopilot. It's going to create all of the content for me. It's going to do the forge. It's going to generate social media content, emails, carousels, like literally all of those things are now running on autopilot behind the scenes as I go get coffee or do other things. Or maybe I want to go plan a new episode. So before I go to the planner, I want to focus on the guests. Because again, we all have hundreds of guests that we've interviewed over the years. And you might not remember, hey, what did I talk to Gabriel about? What did I talk to Alex about or Andy about, right? So this place remembers the information about your guests, about your guests and what they talked about. So simply, let's go to Brian Clayton. He was a guest on the podcast a couple of times. In the profile, I can see his basic information, his bio, his expertise knows because he was a guest a couple of times on the show. I can look at the content that we created, episodes that he was on. Here's the 2 episodes that he was on. A portfolio basically pulls in from other podcasts into here. Like, what? Wait, what? I'm pulling in information from other podcasts that he was a guest on into PodGlue so that we can learn more about the guest that's going to either come on or if they're working on something new. I'm like, oh my God, he was just a guest on this episode. I can go listen to that episode and I can send a message to Brian. Hey, Brian, I love that episode that you're on, Uber for Lawn Care and growing to 300,000 users with GreenPal. So awesome that you're doing this. Let's jump on another call or let's do another episode. Like, how's your experience been? How is GreenPal doing? Like, you can continue to build those relationships by tracking, hey, what other places has my guest that was on my show on? Because we're building this relationship one conversation at a time, one point at a time. And again, it just makes it so much easier. So that's so awesome about here. I've built this in so that we can keep track of our guests and encourage them, support them, right? We're going to continue to build their confidence, build other things. And we've got social connections. So these are all the social media content that they have, their website, their social media profiles. And here's some 2 cool things down here. In the return section, I can say, hey, return potential is high, return potential is medium. What's the new topic that we can talk about? I can add additional topics in here. I can say, hey, how does a guest like to be contacted? Do they like to be contacted on LinkedIn, on a phone call, on emails? What's the frequency that we should connect with them? Again, this is how we're building that relationship with them. What's the best date to record that they have? Again, these are information that they've shared on their socials or on their different places, and you can totally build in and keep track of those things for your guests. Because we're building these relationships. Humans, we're all about relationships, right? And down here, matching opportunities, create an opportunity in network opportunities tab to see matches here. So what does this mean? Well, again, because we're all focused on building that connection with our guest, building that relationship with our guest, the network tab keeps track of literally all of those things. This is our relationship network. It shows me I've got 85 pending things that I gotta work on, and some follow up that I can do over here. I can take a look at the relationship health. How is it going? For example, I need to contact my brother-in-law in Ahmed Qureshi. Actually, I talk to him literally all the time, but I'm not noting it here. In the reminders, it kind of tells you, hey, you should probably talk to Joshua Ramsey, learn about citations and list businesses on relevant websites to improve web presence. So I can simply go in here and say, hey, I already did that, right? And it'll mark it off. Then this is something that people are going bonkers over, is the graph view. If you're ready for this, drop a 1 in the comments. This builds out your entire network of connected people. And if I zoom out, I see all the other people that are not connected, and I can say, you know what? I want to connect Alex Sanfilippo with this other person over here. And it's interesting that he's not connected to anybody, but he's the only podcast entrepreneur, external resource. So again, as I re-import these people, they're going to have a connective tissue just like this, and they're going to be connected with different people. So over here, we got Jeremy Shapiro and Chris Stone connected because they talk about entrepreneur freedom and time as a resource. Awesome. Thank you, Kerry. So here is the network graph that you can pull in. And then down here, you can say, hey, you selected this guest. You can view this guest in the vault. And again, as I click on different people in here, I can go to that guest. So that's really cool. I see the graph view. But what if I want to introduce 2 people that are in the same boat? And tell me, who here introduces via email their podcast guest or podcast host to other people all the time? I'm sure you do it. And you probably have to go to your email and you're like, hey, I want to introduce John to Mark over here. Then you go to your email client. And guess what happens? You know exactly what happens. You get distracted. You get distracted because you're checking email now. But in PodGlue, we keep you focused on the task because you're literally coming here to introduce 2 people. So the way to do that is you can compose an outreach to say, hey, I want to compose an outreach to Alex Moses. I've got his email. I want to invite him as a guest, so I can do that one way. Or I can log in a new introduction between 2 people. Like, okay, I want to introduce Alex Sanfilippo to my good friend Charlie Burney, although they already know each other. Talk about Podmatch for in-person guest appearances. Because Charlie runs a podcast studio in DC. Alex Sanfilippo runs the Podmatch software. And I can say, hey, this resulted in an episode, or let's just log the thing. Once I've logged it, I've just scrolled down just a teeny bit over here. These are all of the introductions that I've done. And I can just click on Send Intro Email. In the Send Intro Email, I've got a warm introduction template, a shared interest, a collaboration opportunity. Let's choose collaboration opportunity. It's going to send an email to this person and the other person. I don't think I have Charlie's email saved in here. And then it's going to send this email from PodGlue to the both of them. So now I'm introducing them, and if anybody replies, it's coming back to me. That's saved in here, right? So I'm making it easy to introduce people to each other through here. And of course, this is going to say, hey, you haven't sent any emails yet. They can start seeing them over here. Okay. So that's the relationship network. Opportunities will show you some additional opportunities. Right now, I have none. Metrics is going to help you track, hey, who are the gateway people that I can connect to? Gordon Farmack is definitely a gateway person I can go to. Stuart Irvin's connected to more people. Dominic. Again, all of these things are tracked in here for you to, again, continue to build that relationship, continue to track the people. Because believe it or not, CRM is great, but it's only designed to manage customers. But not every podcast guest is a customer. Right? So that's the relationship network. Now, before I go into the planner, which is a really powerful system, I'll play another song. And this is around. This is it's one of my favorite songs, actually. Because what happens is when you're just having a conversation and you kind of forget why are you doing it, you let the conversation, the relationship disappear. So this is called Don't Let It Disappear.
We sat across a microphone for an hour and 12. You told me something honest that I couldn't tell myself. The conversation bent the way that real ones always do. And somewhere in the middle, I forgot I'm hosting you. The file got uploaded and the numbers trickled in. 100 people listened, but the thread got thin. Your email bounced, my notes got buried. 3 months disappeared, and now I can't remember what I promised I'd keep here. Don't let it disappear, the thing we built between the questions. Don't let it fade to air, like every conversation no one saved. We had a real one, I could feel it. We had a moment that was true, but the system only kept the audio and lost what really passed between me and you. I scrolled back through a year of shows, 100 different names, and half of them are strangers now that shouldn't be the same. We shared a mic, we shared a thought, we shared a piece of time, and all that's left is a waveform on a dashboard line. Don't let it disappear, the thing we built between the questions. Don't let it fade to air, like every conversation no one saved. We had a real one, I could feel it. We had a moment that was true, but the system only kept the audio and lost what really passed between me and you. Every podcast episode is a relationship that started. The question is whether anything holds it after the mic goes off. Don't let it disappear. Don't let it disappear. The fire was saved, but the bond was not. Don't let it disappear.
Thank you. That was Don't Let It Disappear. You can listen to the entire album on podglue.com. That's going to take you to this album page. And Carrie, you're absolutely right. How can you not love Suno? It's such an amazing tech tool, especially if you're building these relationships, especially if you're connecting with people. And something that I heard earlier on Podcasting Morning Show, I don't know why. Something that I heard earlier on Podcasting Morning Show, my friend Jeff Say, he's actually creating a song for every single person that comes on his show, which is really powerful. I mean, thank you for that idea. And of course, he's got a whole system with Cloud Code and Cloud Cowork and whatnot, which is amazing. I absolutely love it. Like, as I'm listening to him speak on today's Podcast Morning Show on June 4th, thank you for Mark. He celebrated my birthday like right at the beginning of it. But as Jeff Say is talking about all the things that he's doing, I was like, I'm just going to add a feature in PodGlue to create a song, create a trailer, and a prompt for the music inside PodGlue. So every time you want to create a custom song for your episode, you just click on, hey, give me the lyrics based on this podcast transcript and a prompt based on the conversation, and voila, boom. You can say, hey, we're always going to do a song in this style, blah, 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 and that can be saved in here. And actually, that would be a really powerful segue to show you where that lives in the show. So I know I was going to show you the episode planner. This is if you're a solo podcaster or you want somebody to come back to your episode, the returns, right? You can say, hey, I'm going to have Vinny Potesivo come back on my episode, right? I can add some additional threads. If there's any continuation threads built in, or I can bring in Captain Hoff, your fitness goals, like all of these things are in here. I can build an episode by bringing a guest to return. But let's say I want to come up with some new ideas. And I go to here and I said, okay, let's give me some concepts for a single episode. And while I wait, why not play a little game of, what is this game called? Zip It. I think it's called Zip On. Nope, that's not going to work. Got to go this way. Because I can't, for the life of me. Hey, I did it. So as I played that game, AI went in the background and gave me 3 new ideas for 3 new podcast episodes. And now I have work to do, right? I've got to go create these episodes. So this is the planner mode in generation. In creative brainstorming, I can say, hey, I want to do an episode on the Creators Foundation, building your studio beyond the gear. Now, how does it know that I talk about studio gear? Like, how does PodGlue know that this is a topic that I want to talk about? That's interesting. The gear trap, why your expensive camera won't make you a better creator. Junaid argues that focusing on expensive equipment is a form of procrastination and that skill, story, and consistency are the real drivers of success. Think about it. How does it know? And I'm glad that I went this route before instead of showing you the other thing. So how does PodGlue know? Let me show you. PodGlue, as you're going and setting up your profile, We have a whole setup process, and we've got documentation. And as you're going and setting up your profile, your workspace, it's going to ask you these questions. Hey, what's your name? What's your workspace name? What's your description for this workspace? This is automatically generated. And this is a really awesome question that's coming in the comments, but I'll show you. If you have an RSS feed for your podcast, you can pop it in here. Apple Show URL and Spotify URL, both of them over here. So then when we're sharing those links to the world, to your podcast, to your guest, these are the links that they're followed through. If you have multiple hosts, you can say, hey, I have a co-host whose name is John, and his role as co-host is he's a guest co-host. Like, I can put those things in here, and then what that does, it gives them an additional ability to configure documentation in here. So if I click on primary host, you can see here that it's got my author and personal details guide filled in. It's got my personal voice and speaking style guide filled in, business and ideal client profile, professional business report, style guide, and entrepreneur POV profile. Like, these 6 documents is the foundation for how PodGlue creates all of the content, all the places that it's going out and searching to create new content for you or giving you new ideas. It's a very simple process. Here's a launch config tool. This is, again, when you're going through the process of setting up your profile. Let me do this. It's in here, but if you're not inside PodGlue yet, just simply head on over to podglue.com/AI voice profile, and I'll share it in the comments as well. AI voice profile will help you teach AI how to write like you in 6 prompts. So these are the 6 prompts that I'm simply sharing. And here's the prompts. You simply copy it and paste it into ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whichever one you like. This is a tool that can have a conversation with you. And so inside the setup process, you're going to go through it, then you can upload this file, and then you're going to go on to the next one. So in the review all, you'll see, hey, all of these things are entered. The setup is complete. And then it's going to create your new profile. I see a couple of comments, questions in the chat, so let me switch to that mode. When you create something authentically, do you retain rights to your intellectual property? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Because you've put in the work, you've compiled it based on your knowledge, and you're creating that content, so you hold the IP. Of course, you want to make sure that you're not infringing other IPs, and you're making sure that if you are talking about other people's IP, that you're giving them the bibliography, or say, hey, we talked over here about this, this, and this, just like in our PodGlue, the chapter that we're creating over here, right? I said, hey, this was adapted from the conversation with Elaine Johnson. So we want to credit where credit is due. So it's very important. But yes, it is absolutely your property, your intellectual property. And of course, when we're bringing guests on our shows, we're having them sign a form, a release form. And that basically, and once they've signed that release form, Podmatch has in my good friend, the podcast lawyer, he's got a bunch of these forms. So if you're already asking them to fill on those information, you can then co-create with them, and the IP is yours. And that's how I was able to publish this book, because I have these 10 conversations that converted into this book, right? Because I had those conversations, they signed the forms, and we're good to go. So it's your IP. Next question. Do co-hosts need to have an account with PodGlue? Yes, they do, but here's the cool part. Let me show you. This is going to blow your mind, believe it or not. As podcasters, we don't work alone. We work with teams. So in that team fashion, once you set up your workspace, you can say, hey, here are my team members on my podcast. I've got me, I've got my co-host in here, and you simply send an invite to your co-host to say, hey, you're a co-host, you have admin viewer role, you're a primary or co-host or guest host or a producer voice. So you can do all of these things, put in their email address, and send them the invite. And when they sign in, they have access to, they have to go through setting up their AI voice, but then they have access to the same podcast, the same workspace. So what do I mean by workspace? So for example, I have multiple workspaces set up in here. For example, I've got Last Camera Live host Stephanie Garcia. We were doing a test over here. I've got Dad's Building Lego with kids. Hacks for parents, right? So these are different workspaces, different podcasts. So for example, if I go to this one, Junaid talks about, what is this? This only has 5 episodes, right? This is a separate workspace. And again, it's pulling in all of the information from here, or I can have a different profile altogether for this specific podcast. If I want to keep the same thing, I could put that same thing in here. But again, because this is focused on cycling, and all I've done is I just said, hey, this is cycling, right? It's all about cycling, and the episode that it's created are so cool because it's got the concept. Forget the $3,000 carbon wheel set, shaving a couple of hundred grams off of your body, right? So it's created this based on the fact that I said, hey, this is a podcast going to be about Junaid talks about cycling. Simple as that. Just kept it really powerful in here. So yes, a co-host will have a PodGlue account, but they would be connected to your account. They'll be connected to your workspace. And if they want to have their own workspace, they could totally go in and create their own workspace. Although I have not tested that. But that might be something that we can do. So again, you can have 2, 3, 4 workspaces, and you can have you as a co-host for one of them, and then the other person as a primary host. So you have lots of different ways that you can create these workspaces. So let's go back to my main thing over here, my main show. So the next thing I want to show is we went through the plan in the planner. The planner generates new concepts. I can also do reflections, connecting 2 different episodes together. Skip to full editor. And I can say, hey, pull in information from. So I can say, hey, let's pull in an episode summary. Let's see, we'll do this one. So it pulls in that episode and pulls in the title. I can say, hey, let me add one more episode summary. And this is going to be this one. Michelle Thames. And now I can say, hey, let's generate an AI suggestion. Again, I'm building a brand new episode. AI suggestion is ready. So apply suggestions and then customize in Forge. And I want to do a generate a blueprint. So again, it's taking all those themes that we talked about and it's building a new episode based on those contents. So it's going to take a few seconds and come back. Again, I wanted to make it easy for me. I wanted to make it easy for them, for all the podcast hosts to keep going and on here. Can we upload? This is a great question, Carrie. I love your questions, my friend. And it's a valid one. Let's pull in this question and boom, here. Question. Can we upload previously recorded episodes from other platforms into PodGlue? Yes, you can. So how do you do that? how can you bring in previous episodes that are on other platforms? Because here's the fact, right? Every conversation that you had has one thing in common. They all have a transcript. They all have that foundation text around it, right? So let me show you what it did so far. Here's an episode, academic deep dive, what expanding ventures lie, blah, blah, blah. And I can literally save this episode, and it's ready for me to record with my run of the shows, my host questions over here. And before I show you that, Carrie, I want to show you this. This is so cool. Once I'm ready and happy with all of this, the script coach tells me, hey, here's what you're going to do. This is going to be narrative arc, explore the 3 foundational systems, right? So again, there's a lot of reading because that's what podcasting is, reading and learning and implementing it. All right, so once I've got that down, I can say, okay, let's go. I'm ready for this. Did I hydrate? Yes, let me drink some water. Did a box breathing. Mic's head check, cue. All right, 100% ready. Click on start session. Audio check, camera framing is tight. All right. Network, I got stable Wi-Fi. And there's nobody talking. I'm ready to go. Enter the studio. I'm ready to record my solo episode. So you'll see this big red button here, start recording. I can either record an audio or a video directly into PodGlue. Here I am inside PodGlue. And because I've got this teleprompter view, it shows me all the things that I want to talk about. Gives me the entire run of the show saved right here. So I can talk about my 3 themes over here, listener takeaways. It gives me the talking track if I'm having trouble remembering what I'm going to talk about. I'm reflecting on Elaine Johnson's guidance regarding personal story and visual identity, how this principle of authenticity, right? So that's the host prompt, and I can continue to talk and record directly into PodGlue. So now let me move on over to how to bring in past episodes priorly recorded on another platform. So you would simply go to import. In the import tab, in the import page, we have 4 additional tabs. We have the RSS feed that you can bring in. If that video is on YouTube, you can pop it in here. The only difference is that it's not going to bring in a transcript, and that's all we really need. So if you have the transcript ready for that prior episode that you recorded, simply click on File Upload. Upload the transcript or audio files. Or if you have multiple transcripts to upload, simply click on Bulk Transcript Upload. Browse that file. Say, hey, what kind of conversation it is? Oops, this is something that's work in progress. Browse the file, grab the transcript, and voila. We're pulling in and be able to create a new row of the content for you directly in here. I'm going to run autopilot on this one. Go to here. And again, it's going to create all of those fun things on this episode. So all literally we need. And if you've been using AI in the past 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, how are we talking to AI? Just think about that. How are we talking to AI? We're literally typing in text or voice to text to talk to AI. And then it takes that text and it gives us back the answer that we're looking for. So, question, if you don't have a transcript, will broadcasting the recording produce one? So if you're broadcasting a recording, so for example, I'm doing this live stream right now. I'm sure there's somewhere transcript is being generated. And if that's a fact, to simplify it, all we need is the audio track from that broadcast recording, and we upload that audio directly into PodGlue, and that will create the transcript. Yes. So, short answer, yes. You can bring in audio. You can bring in or use a different software to transcribe your broadcast and bring that text into PodGlue, because that's literally the foundation of PodGlue. And yes, there are tools that help you speak better to AI, like WhisperFlow and other software. But again, it just simplifies your way to connect and communicate with AI. So that is how you do it. I've totally blown past what my agenda was supposed to be. So let me go take a look at my agenda, see if I missed anything. Although I've done it pretty. I mean, I've done over 50 demo walkthroughs of the application, and I want to make sure that I'm answering your questions along the way too. Oh my God, this just makes my heart smile. PodGlue is the best. I use a lot of tools, and this has now become my favorite. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you jumped in and got to see PodGlue. And that was the entire idea of creating this live stream for 3 hours. Like, we've been streaming for 2.5 hours. Again, like I said earlier, this is the longest live stream I've ever done before. So thank you so much for sticking around and asking these questions around podcasting. So I'm going to run through the next few tools really quickly, or if I can answer additional questions, please continue to ask them. And yeah, we'll keep moving. So here's a podcast episode that I guest that I recently had on. Actually, I interviewed him a while back, and he's like, Junaid, do you hate me? Like, why is my episode not published yet? So I'm happy to announce that here we are. We have Stephen Puri's episode published. And of course, this is already published, so I'm going to move into that space. And I have all of the content ready to post. I'm going to pop that to LinkedIn. Post this to LinkedIn right now. Oh my God, something I totally forgot to share is the launch campaign. The launch campaign is really cool because it helps you keep track of, hey, what do I need to do on week 1? What do I need to do on week 2? What do I need to do in week 3? Repurpose the LinkedIn article. So week 1, do the launch post, send a guest promo email, and do a newsletter blurb. So let's generate this with AI. And boom, I have this blurb ready. I can copy this to clipboard and send it to my team. And again, it's saved here, right? It's saved here. I can go back to here. Like, oh, it's already here. It's saved for me to go back to it and pull it out. So again, I just wanted to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can with the power of AI and power of arranging the stuff together in one place, the easiest ever. So I generated a community post. I've got a few communities that I'm part of, and I can say, hey, I just listened to blah, blah, blah on this thing, and send it on over there. So again, I can generate all this and come back to it when I'm ready to share it, or my team member can go and work on it. Like I said, we can have up to 5 team members in this application. Yes, 5 team members into this application, so that you can, and depending on which level you're on, you might have a limitation of 5 members to 10 members to 25 members, depending on how big your team is and how many podcasts you're running. So makes it all the better how you can do this. So there we go. That's the power of keeping track of your conversations. So in here, I've got all the stuff in here. Uh, I do have studio that I'm working on, like the smaller studio that you saw in the teleprompter in the solo episode. I do have a full studio here, so if you wanted to record a, where's my drop down? If you wanted to say, hey, this is going to be an intro or outro or an ad, I can just click on, hey, I'm going to record an ad, and blah blah blah, and it's just going to save the audio over here, which then it's saved on PodGlue. So if your team member is recording or producing it, they can go to PodGlue, download the file, edit it all together, and then publish it to wherever you publish the thing. So I've shown you episodes, shown you conversations. These are something brand new that I'm working on, because believe it or not, how many times are you doing a discovery call? I'm like, oh, these were some really cool things that I pulled in from, and I take those discovery calls and I repurpose them on my PodGlue blog. So the reason I built your best episode is invisible. 90 videos of IP. This was a conversation that I had with Dorika Delbridge. She's not a podcaster. She's she has roughly 90 YouTube videos and a recurring philosophy she talks about across all of them. And that's the book. It just hasn't been one yet, right? So I'm having these conversations with people, and I'm building these blog posts from those conversations. And I was like, instead of building a new tool, why don't I just integrate it into PodGlue? Because why not? So here's, again, Dorika Delbridge. This is the same conversation that I had, but from a different perspective on my superjunaid.com website. And that's where the conversation part comes in. You can upload these conversations. Let's see. Upload a conversation over here. You can say, hey, this was a discovery call or a sales call or a training call, a research interview. And then it's going to create the type of content that you're looking for in here. And it will have integrations to your blog, to your other websites. So then you can simply click one button, publish it. One button, publish it to a new website. It's all linking back to you, building your brand, building your persona, all of that stuff. So that's the create stage. We went through planner. You have the planner that gives you 10 different ways to create a new episode. You can have compilations, multi-host panel, ask me anything, news bag, where it'll go get the news topics. Or you can say, hey, I want to talk about these 4 different topics. And you can give it the URLs, and it'll build a new episode for you. Trends is, again, somewhere where it'll say, hey, you are a home studio architect, and let's see what the world is talking about. It's going to come back, and yes, let's do a brain teaser while we wait. Okay, it's going to come back and say, hey, here's a draft. There's these news headlines. Podcasters launching subscriptions and next big monetization wave from Podcast News. Here's the article. Home studio tech upgrades, affordable solutions for pod professional sound from this website. This is the article. Micro-influencers see ROI boost through niche product launches from this site. Here's a link to the URL. So it's pulled in all of these things for me, and I can write my analysis here, or I can say, you know what, just generate AI suggestions, generate suggestions based on what I should be talking about, based on these news bag items that you see in here. And it gives me this thing, the intro text, the headline, the sources, right? All of these things are in here. And this looks different from what I saw down here. So apply suggestions actually is going to fill out all of these things with the right ones. And I can just say, hey, customize in Forge and generate. And now it's going to build that news bag item for me. 1 intro field, 6 items in there, analysis, blah, blah, blah. So again, it's building that blueprint for me as I wait. So that's the planner. Many different ways to build new episodes for when we can't think of what is going on in our head. All right, next up is something I didn't talk. So we got the guests, we've got the network. Bookings is something that I haven't talked about, and all it is, it's basically Calendly inside of PodGlue. Yeah. So if you go to settings, workspaces, we have ability to connect to your Google Calendar, so you can import bookings and see busy times. Of course, there's a bug I gotta fix. Weekly availability. You can say, hey, I'm only available on Thursdays. Then you can take a look at the booking page. So here's my booking page for Hacks and Hobbies. Is it a strategy session? Is it a podcast interview? Or a test call? So I can say podcast interview. To choose the time that they want to be a guest on my show. The date and time. Click on continue. And now they put in their information and complete the booking. And that booking then lives in this booking page. So, yeah, I kind of had to do that because I was using so many different tools. So, yeah, built-in Calendly functionality into here as well so that you can track your guests, pull in that information from that form to directly build a brand new episode, questions based on their background, blah, 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 all in here. So that's how we plan inside PodGlue. Now, there's many different ways to grow. I've got distribution, so you can kind of schedule posts to go out on their own. Because if you have a library of content and you run the forge passes, and if you run all of those passes, what's stopping you from saying, hey, founder of Suka, focus on LinkedIn. Here's the LinkedIn article, LinkedIn post that we generated. It's going to include the episode cover. We can do a thread mode if you want, but I can also drop in a URL that will then get posted to LinkedIn. All really cool. And I can just simply click on schedule a post, and now it's going to go out tomorrow on LinkedIn. So again, built-in scheduler based on the content that you just generated from your podcast episodes, from your back catalog, wherever it is. It's all saved in here. Earlier, I had mentioned about strategies. There's a lot of different strategies you can have for your podcast. I'm still working on this. But again, these are strategies that you can say, hey, this is the scope is content, the stage is launch, and this one's active or watching. And you can build out your launch strategy down here. I can say, hey, my objective is I want lead generation. I want to get this many books calls per month. And let's generate some ideas. Boom, here's my first strategy. Who's my persona? Let's see, I can add a persona by saying, hey, this persona is this one, this one, this one. But based on what I already have, I can say, hey, why don't you assist me and give me some ideas on who could be the ideal client persona for this strategy. And it'll generate this persona right here, the ambitious achiever. So I've got one persona saved in here, entrepreneur POV. Again, we already put in this information. Import the voice host context. We've already put all of this information in here, so it's saving and pulling it all together. Yes, the strategy planning session is coming soon. So is the alignment dashboard. So again, we're tracking and we're building all the tools that you need as a podcaster so that you can continue to grow. So that's strategy. Reviews, a way to pull in reviews from your podcast, from your Apple podcast, and that'll show up right here. In the manage one, we have the production that I already showed you. You can track, hey, where's my episodes at? How are they doing? Who's in studio? Who's in pre-production, etc., etc. We have some quotes saved from the conversations. These are all the quotes. I can build collection of quotes. Again, just to say, hey, Jennifer Bennett said, so why your mom? So your why as a mom, as somebody who's raising kids, as somebody who has a mom and husband and all of these duties. Interesting. So yeah, we can probably make this better, but that's what's going on over here. Now, I've showed you this already. You have a chapter from an episode. And we have a book that I published 2 years ago. What if I want to do that for my current episodes? So this is where you were talking about, is this my IP? Is this my IP? So my IP is now saved in my software. I can build a new book based on these chapters, based on the conversation that I had on my show. So let's go ahead and click new book. I don't have a title for this book because I don't know what I'm going to call it, but let's see, what theme do I want for this book? Let's talk about startup growth. Okay, so these theme categories are going to be pulled from the conversation that you already had. These are not themes or categories that are outside of your expertise, outside of what the AI is pulling from your conversations. This is literally pulling from what you already talked about. So I'm going to do startup growth, and it updates it over here. Startup growth. I say creative innovation. No, it's going to be startup growth. I can also add a custom theme, but let's go with startup growth. Now I want to add some chapters to this book. Let's go ahead and open the asset library. Remember when we clicked on autopilot and we generated these chapters? Well, here we are. Strategy would be a good one for startup growth. Execution, absolutely important. Let's see, what else do we want? Business structure, yes, please. Intellectual property, startup growth, you gotta have IP, right? Digital legacy preservation, probably not. Agency management, absolutely. And let's see, what else do we have here? I think those are the few chapters that I want to put in here. I do want to add this one, but this is not ready because I have not run the manuscript pass on this one. Do you need a personality for a startup? Yes. So let's do that. So now I have 6 chapters in this book. Now this could be an ebook, this could be a printed book. It's all up to you. There's no limitation on anything whatsoever. Once you have these chapters in, you can say, I want to put this chapter above here, and you can kind of rearrange them based on what you want. Once we're done with this, I want to actually design a cover, but we don't have a name yet, so let's wait on designing a cover. Let's go to narrative. This will show me, hey, how many words do I have in this entire book? How long is it going to take for somebody to read it? And let's build an introduction. So this introduction is actually looking at all the chapters that you've added to your book and generating an introduction and creating a cohesive introduction. All right. And within seconds, it'll come back and tell me, here's what's going on. Oh, this is pretty cool. Longest chapter is chapter 2. Shortest chapter is chapter 1. Nice. Once it's weaved, it updates the estimated pages, estimated read time, estimated total words, because we've added a whole new chapter based on the following chapters that we're going to have in there. So it's built that for me. All right, now let's go to publish, and let's come up with a title for this book. Now, yes, you might be wondering, what is this? Well, I'm generating metadata so that you can take this book directly to, or once you've edited it, you have all the all the metadata for Amazon KDB to be able to pull in from here. So once it's done generating, we'll see all the stuff. So this is going to be the architect's mandate. Apply. I want to use that title. How to build the unseen system stories and structures for an enduring enterprise. And then I can say, I am the podcast. I'm the author for this book. The year is 2026, not 2024. The language is English. Hardcover and paperback ISBN. I can bring these back from Amazon, and I can say, hey, I want the trim size to be 6:9. Again, this is filled in because we have the cover designer here. We're just saying, hey, this is a 6:9. If I change it to 5:8, generate an AI cover. Again, making it so easy that you're just clicking and generating and building your IP. So here it is, the Startup Growth book. It's generated the cover design for me. I can also see what the print wrap would look like this. And it actually gave me a 6:9 when I said 5:8. All right, there's a bug that we need to fix. And in the Publish tab, I can make sure everything is good. All I gotta do is click on Export. And I can choose it as a PDF, an EPUB, HTML document, DocumentX, or Markdown, so then I can make edits, send it to my editor, and whatnot. So I'll just click on PDF, export the book, and boom. It's ready to export. I've got the image in the first page. I've got the in-page thing over here. Content, table of contents, introduction, all that good stuff. All generated from conversations you had, the hours that you spent, all combined so that you now have another way to monetize your podcast by selling these books. And then as people are listening to these books, guess where they're going to come back to? They're going to come back to your podcast. They're going to come back to your world, come back to learning who you are, because now you've got content going everywhere. So that's the book builder. And every single user that has an account on PodGlue has a built-in affiliate program already configured. All you gotta do is go in here, put in your email in the assets, or where is it? In the dashboard, or over here in the link section. Referral link is right here, and your payout is tracked. I've also built a lot of assets to promote this. PodGlue, again using your URL. I'll generate it right here because why not? 7 automated touch points, 0 extra efforts. Booking, prep. Oh, here's something that I didn't share. So let's go to this one. So inside of the settings, so we have the brand identity. We've got the host voice profile. We have got the AI configuration. And then we also have PodGlue proof, which makes sure that, how strict is the AI generation happening? Is it relaxed, standard, strict? Guardrails, how long do you want sentences to be that's generating? What's the tone preset? What grade level reading you want? Like all of these things are built in here to, again, make your life easy at the end of the day. If you want to reset your password, if you want to delete your account, all of those things are over here. And in the workspace section, we already talked about the calendar sync, the weekly ability. You got booking forms that you can build in over here, invitation links that you can send to your guests. video messages. So every time somebody fills out a form and books a show on your show using PodGlue, you have ways to send them a video message and an email. So you can see all of the message body over here. You can change all of this text as you want and save it when you're ready to go. You can send test messages, send to me or preview. Right, so here's that. And so I've got 7 different emails that you can turn on, add videos to it, because you want to personalize the communication that you're having with the people on the other end. Something that's coming out in the future is the custom feeds. This is to push these testimonials or themes and of stuff to your website. And I'll talk more about it as we pull this together. Brand assets is something that you can put in here. Like, hey, here's how I like my square covers to be, my rectangle covers to be, my vertical templates and your logos. And when it's generating a new cover for you from the images that you have in there, it's going to pull all of that stuff together. AI agent access. Yes, I do have an MCP built in, so you can tell your Claude or ChatGPT to connect with PodGlue. I haven't tested this yet. This is brand new. Again, I'm moving really fast with putting the tools in that are going to make me easy and make it easy for my team as well. So what time is it? Oh my God. 2 hours and 51 minutes. We've got just a few minutes to go. And I want to highlight this comment that Carrie put over here. Junaid Ahmed, this is absolutely phenomenal. What a gift to choose to bless others on your birthday. Yes, I wanted to gift others instead of getting a gift. I want to gift you this amazing software. And yes, it's not free, but there is a trial period that you can try it out. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I'm going to play another song which actually dials into this exact thing that you just mentioned. And that's the podcast heart. Hey, where is podcast heart? I thought I had that in here. Hold on. There's one song that's missing from the album. Let's fix that. There we go. Add to playlist. PodGlue sessions. Hit publish. All right, so this song is called Podcast Heart. Let's check it out.
Love your podcast heart. Yeah, hit record when the world gets loud. Rambling thoughts in an empty room. Every truth that you talk around still finds me.
Oh no, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, guys. Let's play it again.
Every truth that you talk around still finds me. You say you're fine through a practice laugh. Skip the parts where it really hurts, but in the gaps and the trailing off, I hear every word. So let me listen to your podcast heart. Every edit, every awkward start, all the tangents that you think too far. I just want the long, uncut part. Let me listen to your podcast heart. All the breaks you hide in faded charts. I'll stay tuned through the your podcast heart. Of your podcast heart. Your name each feel like a late night show. Jokes and jabs, then you change.
So guys, that's Podcast Heart. It's the last song on the album, and it's got a little Urdu pop, a podcast anthem, a response chorus. I don't know what all these terms are, but it's a pretty fun song that I was able to pull together. And guys, I'm so excited. Like, I didn't know that I could talk for this long. I'm so happy that I met Carrie Willis on this stream. I saw my good friends Gabe and Andy and Robert and James Hicks and Raul Lopez, new friend that I've recently made, Jordan Mendoza. Guys, thank you so much for wishing me my happy birthday. I hope that you had as much fun as I did. And if you have any questions at all, my doors are wide open. Drop them in the DM. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you can find me, or they have a DM capability. You can even DM me on Threads, although we can't live stream to Threads yet. But I'll be definitely cutting pieces up of this content and sharing it all over the place. But guys, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. I'm going to play another song because why not? This is my good friend JR absolutely loved this song. He's like, "Oh my God, Junaid, you got some soul, brother." So I'll play this one. This is called where'd it go? Compounding. There you go. This is a gospel inspirational song. Hope you like it.
I planted something small last March, a conversation with a stranger in the dark. Didn't go viral, didn't break the charts. Just two people being honest from the start. 6 months later, she sent me a name. Said you should talk to him, he's building the same. And that introduction opened up a door that I never would have found on the conference floor. Oh, I'm not chasing one bright moment, I'm not living for the spike. I'm building what the algorithm doesn't measure. I'm compounding overnight, seed by seed and show by show. Trust is something you can't rush. And the thing about compounding is it only works if you don't give up. Episode 47, nobody heard, but the guests remembered every single word. Called me back a year later with the deal. Said I trust you cause I know the way you feel. That's not a download, that's not a metric. That's a relationship that turned electric. And it started with a mic and a question asked with care, and a system that remembered I was there. I'm not chasing one bright moment, I'm not living for the spike. I'm building what the algorithm doesn't measure. I'm compounding overnight, seed by seed and show by show. Trust is something you can't rush. And the thing about compounding is it only works if you don't give up. They'll tell you it's about the numbers, they'll tell you bigger, faster, more. But the deepest wells were dug by people who kept showing up when nobody kept score. We're not chasing one bright moment, we're not living for the spike. We're building what the algorithm
that was called Compounding on the PodGlue Sessions album. Wow, those words are powerful. Holy shoot. You know, when you're podcasting as long as I have, and I know a lot of you have as well, you realize that the podcast is not the product. It's a relationship compound that you build over time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on this live stream launch for PodGlue. If y'all are interested in learning more about PodGlue, head on over to podglue.com/join. And if you really like the music, I mean, come on. I was literally crying on every one of these songs when I first created this music. I was like, holy smokes, why is this so good? Yeah. The relationship. It's all about the relationship. You're compounding relationship. You're compounding the content. You're building IP with books that you can hold in your hand. It's so important to realize that the episode is not the purpose. The episode is the byproduct of the relation that we build. These relationships that I've built have converted into other things. There's a guest on my show, episode 701, Jeff Arnold. He reached out to me almost a month ago. He's like, Junaid, I love your studio. Can you do that for me? We jumped on a call. I just came back from there last week, building the studio for him. And every time he sat on the chair and he looked at himself, he's like, oh my God, Junaid, who is this handsome fella? So Jeff, thank you. Again, these relationships only build when you focus on the relationship. If your focus is just on the episode, then that's what you're going to get back. So focus on giving back to the people. Focus on building that relationship. And I'm making it super easy for you to do that with podglue.com. Carrie's on the wait list. Thank you so much, Carrie. Appreciate you. I'll talk to y'all soon on the next live. I'm going to do these more often, so maybe there'll be one next week. All right, take care, and we'll see you in the next one. See you on the inside with podglue.com.